I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by my co-host with Harrison Bader like hair,
Yeah, it's a weird ordeal. Katie is just proving to be childish.
which is why I don't feel I would give $5 million to Jack Campbell.
I don't know. Baseball is one of those sports where anyone who makes the playoffs really can be a contender.
I think the Padres definitely do it.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell gets traded.
Kyrie Irving does have the track record of not being a great locker room fit, or even good locker room fit.
Bader got some luscious locks. I gotta say it.
This is Zach Bigley, the broadcaster for the Frisco Rough Riders, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin. You guys better subscribe.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week, and the man that I have not played musical chairs with, but that's what Milwaukee did with their coaches, Austin.
To be something deeper going on in Milwaukee that we don't know, that hasn't been reported on. I'm assuming that Giannis and Adrian Griffin, maybe Dame and Giannis, with Adrian Griffin, did not get along or something to that nature. But it seems weird when a team is 30-13 and second in the East for this drastic change to happen mid-season. We're not even at the All-Star break. It's just plug in Doc Rivers, and here we go, I guess.
Yes, and that's something we'll talk. There has to be something too, and Giannis isn't going to say anything because he's not that guy. Like you said, oh, I loved Adrian Griffin. But there's had to be something to me as well. And this is something for the Cavaliers. They have, in the last 10 days, they faced the Bucks. But each time there's been a different coach. First was Adrian Griffin. Next was the interim coach. Now I believe they face Doc Rivers.
Yeah, that's extremely weird, and I guess it changes game planning a little bit, but it seems to be hard to Doc Rivers to implement what he wants to do. I'm the biggest Doc Rivers fan because of all the blown game sevens and all the other stuff that's happened with him, but to give him the benefit of the doubt, I don't know how you could implement changes. Like hey, I run this type of system. Well, coach, we play tomorrow. So what do you want us to do? Like it.
And yeah.
Well, I was going to say, it seems like we won't see any significant change until after the All-Star break, because that's when you really could start to implement changes over a broader scale without it costing you wins and losses.
Yeah, and Doc Rivers was commentating on NBA games, so he wasn't in a room locked up. Oh, okay, this is what I'm going to do as a coach. No, he was working on TV. So it just seems like a weird hire to me. And did you also know that Rivers was like a helpful, like a guy that Griffin could talk to while Griffin was the coach?
I did not know that, no.
It's weird. And when I first thought this, my crazy thing was like, I wonder if they just bring Budenholzer back, because he's still on the market.
I think he would have been a better answer. I don't really think Budenholzer was the problem, but it is what it is. Milwaukee's been very weird by moves. I mean, Milwaukee lost last year because of Giannis' injury, not because of Budenholzer's lack of coaching ability. And then they do this, and I thought Adrian Griffin was playing or doing well as a head coach. But obviously, there was some disagreement either with him in the front office or him with Giannis or both. And then now we have Doc Rivers, and I mean, if you're him, you kind of have to be worried. Like, this is definitely not a secure job. I could be fired this off. Like, yes, I want to compete. Yes, I want to get this team to the playoffs and do my best. But at the same time, you have to wonder how safe he feels, even if he does well. Because obviously these past coaches have done well. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and for everyone listening, Bucks were second. Then there's that weird video of the Bucks like dancing in a circle in their first game without Griffin. So I'm like, what were the vibes like in that locker room?
Yeah, I don't know. We really will never find out, right? Because they
probably not.
The Bucks will never explain that. It's not going to be a 30 for 30 probably, unless they go on to win a championship, and then that would be a crazy year. But I don't really know what to expect. I don't really know if the Bucks know what to expect. this is a crazy change to have midseason because I don't remember the last time a team was this entrenched in a play. Oh, I do. It was really the Cavs who fired David Blatt halfway through the season and signed Tyronn Lue after David Blatt had led them to an NBA championship appearance, and obviously they lost. But that was more because of Kyrie and Kevin Love's injuries, not because of David Blatt's lack of coaching ability. And then the next year when those two were coming back from injury, they kind of struggled a little bit, but they were okay. They were like fourth in the East, and then he gets fired, and they bring in Tyronn Lue, and obviously that year they win the championship. But it's weird. I thought that firing was weird. Again, I don't know what you could have expected in those circumstances, and same here with Adrian Griffin. I don't know what else you could have expected unless there was some big disagreement that he had with the front office or Giannis or Dame or all three. I don't really know what could have caused this.
And it's weird to me to sign a head coach during the season. We've seen this before. Recently, it was Quinn Snyder replaced McMillan for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Because this, like, I don't understand the firing, but replacing a coach, you usually just pick someone from the staff because they're familiar with the system. But no, you're taking an outside presence, not giving them a lot of time, like you talked about with Rivers, and just go, hey, do what you do as a coach. Also, like you said before, we have a game. Also, we're trying to get number one in the East. Like, how do you respond to that in that situation?
It's also the fact, like, you know me, I'm more of like 3 years is what you need to be a head coach before you can really get all your players you need set in your system and truly be worthy of firing, unless it's an Urban Meyer situation. But they didn't give Adrian Griffin that, and so I doubt that they give Doc Rivers that. If they are the 2 seed, finish as a 2 seed, win 2 rounds and lose in the conference championship to the Celtics or something, there's no guarantee in my mind that Doc Rivers is the coach next year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. And another thing is, it's different if it's the LA Lakers, but the Bucks are still paying 3 coaches. They're paying Budenholzer. They're paying Adrian Griffin. Now they're paying Doc Rivers. So to me, Milwaukee's always had the reputation of, oh, they don't like to spend money. They're very frugal with their money. You're paying 3 coaches big amounts of money. That's not very frugal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just it was so out of the blue. When I saw that notification, it caught me off guard. And I just don't know what to expect. I don't know what I can see this going a lot of ways.
What are the ways?
Well, you're right, because you mentioned this before, hiring a new head coach mid-season is very weird because at least the interim coach usually came from the same system and is going to play the same system. So you know that your team is at least going to stick. Maybe they have a different voice at the top, and that voice could be better or worse. But at least you're going to run the same system. When you hire Doc Rivers, he runs a different system than Adrian Griffin, almost certainly. And so if they go on a big losing streak or they lose 7 of 10 games or something like that, that would be a drastic change. And that's why I'm saying those are some of the possible results is how does this team adapt to Doc Rivers' system? How does Doc Rivers adapt to this lineup? Because he's never coached Giannis before. He's never coached Dame before. He doesn't know these players and what they like, what they don't like. And that could really affect how they play down the stretch.
Yeah, I agree. I think most of the regular season as an NBA coach, sometimes you need to devise plays, but it's kind of just helping your team get along through the season. The X's and O's really come into play for me in the playoffs, where, like you mentioned, Doc Rivers has failed.
Yeah, that's true. And it's not just plays; it's also how you play. I don't know. You've never done 2K, but do you want to push up pace? Do you want to be a really, really fast team? Hey, let's fast break every time. Fast break. Or are we going to be more of a half court set team to actually call plays? Are we going to run the team just through Giannis, just through Dame, or both? Who's going to get those ball carrying opportunities? Who do we want crashing the boards? Who do we want out? What type of defense are we going to play? Are we going to switch every screen? Are we going to go on top of screens, below screens? Are we going to be in top of the post man, behind the post man? Like, there's a lot of different things that coaches disagree on because they're different people that I don't necessarily blame them for. But you do have to wonder. Something I've been wondering, and this is not necessarily just that, was Giannis the reason And if he is the reason, is Doc Rivers who he wanted? Because I don't know if I think he knows that Doc Rivers has not been the greatest of playoff performers as a head coach, and he's definitely not had the best play calls or the best X's and O's or whatever come playoff time. And you would think that if Giannis was the problem, he'd have enough pull to pull the guy he wanted. And if Doc Rivers was the guy he wanted, I kind of question that.
I think it has to be Giannis, right? Because if you're the owners, you just signed this guy. But the thing is, hey, you got to keep Giannis. I think that's the thing we see with the NBA. I want to keep this guy. Or I want him gone. I think he wants Doc Rivers. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Doc Rivers has won a championship, but it was a long time ago. And you had the Clippers fiasco where it just did not go well.
Oh, and then the 76ers. And
oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Man,
yeah, last year they blew a 3-2 lead with the Celtics. They played horrible in Game 7. They could not stop Tatum. And if they played the 76ers in a playoff series, who has the advantage?
Oh, yeah. I got to say Sixers.
I would say it's Sixers because Rivers is not going to change how he plays. And they know how Giannis plays. But the Sixers have been a different animal this year because of how Tyrese Maxey has blossomed into a better player that he wasn't with Doc Rivers as a coach.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel if you're Doc Rivers in this situation or the Bucks, you're just we're going to rely on Giannis and Dame and the players around him. We really don't think they need coaching, which is a bad thing in my bad.
Every player needs coaching.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are. Everybody needs guidance. Nobody's perfect.
Well said. So it's just so weird, man. And I really have no idea what else is going to happen. There have been other coaching news, but Adrian Griffin, when I saw that, I'm like, what? Did something go wrong? And I'm curious I think the Bucks won that night too.
Yeah, I think they did. What was crazy is when I saw it, I thought he was sick. I thought he was going to be out. When is it like Adrian Griffin out as head coach? I thought it meant like for a week, like personal matters or sick or something. And I saw like they're moving on from him effective immediately. I didn't know what to say. And
yeah, like they struggled against the Pistons, but they still won.
You're going to have those games against bad teams as long as you win them. You're going to have bad games and still win against those bad teams if you're a great team. And you can't really judge a team based on a win. Even if they play bad. I don't really know. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's weird because they did get blown out against the Bucks, 135-95. The Cleveland Cavaliers blew out the Bucks with the score. Then the Bucks won 141-135. Then it was 122-113. Bucks still won. And then I believe the next night was the Cavs faced the interim coach for the Bucks. And then tonight they face Doc Rivers with the Bucks. Yeah, this is weird. So I think the title of the video says it well, and Austin, I'll let you take it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. What was your reaction to this? I know Kevin and I were shocked. Were you shocked? Did you kind of expect it? Do you like the Doc Rivers hiring? And thank you guys for listening.